I think we're all judged on how bad is, and if you go to schools, if you see teachers and dinner ladies and say, what does it look like, it's a very, very upsetting.
Because blaming others, Prime Minister, it's not as simple as that, is it? Because I've checked the government guidance on free school meals.
Jamie Oliver just served Keir Starmer a dish of cold, hard truth on national television. The chef's passionate plea for action on child poverty left the Labour leader visibly shaken.
What I can say is one of the things that would by default take away is their ability to have a free school lunch.
As Oliver presented damning evidence of inadequate school meals and rising food costs, Starmer struggled to defend his policies. The confrontation exposed a glaring disconnect between Starmer's rhetoric and reality. How will this televised takedown impact public perception of the Labour Party? The figures are startling. 38% of kids in Tower Hamlets alone are dependent on free school lunches. This is more than just a statistic. It serves as a sobering reminder of the rising problem of food insecurity that British families are currently dealing with. More parents are finding it difficult to put meals on the table as food prices keep rising, putting their kids at risk for malnutrition and its long-term effects.
He wouldn't be ending the Tory austerity policy, which takes tax credits away after you've had 2 children.
Oliver's dissatisfaction with the policies in place is evident. He specifically criticises the Department of Education's free school meal guidelines. Without holding back, the chef called their sample food parcel disgraceful. For a child's nutritional needs, the government considers a loaf of bread, 2 baked potatoes, a block of cheese, baked beans, and 3 yogurts to be adequate.
Baked potatoes, block of cheese, baked beans, 3 individual yogurts. Sound familiar? That's the images, Prime Minister, you just called disgraceful.
It's difficult to disagree with Oliver's claim that it is dreadfully insufficient. However, criticism isn't limited to meal quality. Oliver's criticising Starmer and other politicians for not acting more quickly to address this crisis. He thinks they're ignoring the pain of weaker families and putting political scheming ahead of the fundamental needs of kids.
I think we're all judged on how bad is, and if you go to schools, if you see teachers and dinner ladies and say, what does it look like, it's a very, very upsetting.
Tensions were high as Oliver got ready to face Starmer on live television. Could the leader of the Labour Party explain why his party supports free school meals? Could he reconcile the inconsistencies in his policies with his public declarations that he was fighting child poverty? A heated argument started when the chef demanded that free school meals be implemented immediately. Oliver was prepared to refute Starmer's rhetoric because he had first-hand knowledge of struggling families and damning statistics. In order to guarantee that no child in one of the richest countries in the world goes hungry, he demanded more than just assurances. Viewers prepared for a confrontation between an experienced politician and an ardent supporter as the confrontation approached. Could Starmer stand up to Oliver's incessant interrogation? Or would the Labour leader be forced to admit the inadequacies of his party's strategy for addressing child poverty?
Like the Education Secretary, he blames others, and he invites me to hold him to account. So let me do that.
Starmer comes across as a champion against child poverty based on her public remarks. However, the web of policies that lie beneath this outward display of kindness paints a very different picture. What occurs on live television when a politician's words and deeds conflict? The answer may surprise you, and it will soon be revealed to us. Combating child poverty has become central to Keir Starmer's public persona. He has stated time and time again that no child should be harmed because of their family's financial circumstances. Many voters find resonance in this admirable sentiment.
Because blaming others, Prime Minister, it's not as simple as that, is it? Because I've checked the government guidance on free school meals.
This rhetoric is supported by the Labour Party's official position on free school meals, which pledges to guarantee that all children have access to wholesome food. However, this is where chaos arises. Starmer's words and deeds are not entirely consistent. The most obvious inconsistency: his insistence on keeping the contentious two-child benefit rule in place. Families' access to financial assistance is restricted by this policy according to the number of children they have. Many contend that this rule disproportionately affects larger families and directly contributes to child poverty. How can Starmer maintain a policy that excludes certain children while claiming to be an advocate for child welfare? Many people have been baffled by this question. Critics contend that Starmer is ignoring the problem and putting political scheming ahead of practical fixes. To put it mildly, the public's response to Starmer's policies has been conflicting. Many believe that when it comes to tackling child poverty, he is just talking the talk and doing nothing. His dedication to the cause is increasingly being questioned.
I think that they don't seem to be saying anything at the moment, and the manifestos haven't been published yet.
Particularly since he hasn't put forth a clear strategy to address the problem directly. The tension was evident as Jamie Oliver got ready to take on Starmer on live television. Could the leader of the Labour Party explain his conflicting position? Or would Oliver's constant interrogation cause him to break down? The subsequent altercation was nothing short of explosive. Armed with incriminating data and practical examples, Oliver relentlessly criticised Starmer for his inconsistent policies. It was clear that the Labour leader found it difficult to reconcile his party's actions with his public remarks. Starmer found himself in a tight spot as Oliver provided proof of insufficient school meals and growing food expenses. This debate's ramifications go well beyond a single TV appearance. It calls into question the gap between rhetoric and action in British politics as well as political accountability. One thing is evident as the dust settles. The public is demanding more from their leaders than just hollow promises, and the battle against child poverty in the UK is far from over. The conflict between Keir Starmer and Jamie Oliver has exposed the glaring discrepancy between actual child poverty efforts and political pledges.
It's like the campaign of relentless advertising of junk food to kids. Like, there need to be controls,
While Starmer's clumsy defence demonstrates the Labour Party's inability to match its rhetoric with practical solutions, Oliver's passionate call for immediate reforms to school meals has exposed the shortcomings of current policies. This argument is a wake-up call for British politics and goes beyond a straightforward TV debate. This confrontation has broad ramifications. It has compelled a national dialogue regarding the effectiveness of current welfare programmes and the actual level of food insecurity among children in the UK. More significantly, it has damaged the public's confidence in political leaders' capacity to confront this crisis head-on. One question looms large as pressure builds for significant policy changes. Will this be the moment that forces British politicians to take meaningful action on child poverty? Or will it be just another lost chance in a long history of broken promises?